not
we
pressing
don't need it
today.
at this time. Are we just taking the temperature of people?
Right.
For our legislators to move forward, they seem to make it clear, they clearly did not have a whole lot of comfort with that idea, and they wanted to make sure that there was some amount of support in our
Well, since we don't need it for
before
this
they would
year,
move forward.
maybe we could think about including it on our survey, where we do get a pretty good response from parents. And that way we would have the temperature.
When do we do a survey?
Next, we get those, the end of the year, we generally have the results back early, late summer or beginning of fall.
Yeah, it would be too
Sounds
late for
reasonable.
this legislative session.
Yeah, that's fine. That's a good idea. Okay, good. Shared services roundtable update. I attended the last meeting and we had a couple, one superintendent and one acting superintendent and Mary Ann Crawford. And we brainstormed yet again, and basically what came out of that meeting was a good suggestion from Coventry. Ken DePietro was the superintendent who was there, who's retiring. And Ken suggested that we try to reframe the whole question of consolidation of services or cooperation with other districts in terms of looking at it from a couple different prongs, but one of the main ones being not just looking at consolidating services, but also looking at generating revenue. In what ways can we generate revenue together? And in what ways can we do programmatic things together that would be of benefit? So, I mean, he just took a sort of, he put a different spin on it that I think helped everybody there a little bit to go home and brainstorm some more. I think it was helpful, but there's nothing concrete to bring out of those meetings yet.
What was that?
Nothing. Jamestown's, so next on the agenda.
Wait, I'm sorry, I just had one
Yes.
last question about the budget. Can I go back?
Absolutely. Sorry.
The charter school slide, that was one question that I had. Do we know anything about if the new charter school, the green one that we got the presentation about, whether we're going to have, and how many, if we are going to have specific slots allotted? Because I noticed it was set at 6 on the slide.
Those are the 6 at the Met.
Right. No, I thought we had 6 at.
Compass.
Compass.
It's not that we have 6, it's that
No,
we
that's
can't go.
on- Right.
Over 6.
But is
Right.
does that mean that we can't go over 6 slots at just that school, or for
That school,
charter
I
schools? Right.
I believe it's that.
So if a new one opens up, are we gonna, does that mean?
Kids could go there,
Another 6.
but we've done, we built our budget on what we know.
Right, but I think it's a good,
Continue to say that,
it's a good
and
question.
things change daily, and I'll give you an
Yeah.
update on a few things that have changed since we passed the budget.
Okay. But I think your question is a good one, is whether the what does the regulation say? Is the 6 number in the regulation to minimize the impact on communities?
Right, especially.
Or was that just something that we worked out with Compass?
Right. I didn't know.
I don't know either. I don't see how it could be in the regulations, because South Kingstown has a lot of kids going to there.
But did they come up with a formula based on the size of the district, so that there would be a distribution
be.
in their,
Right.
in their area?
That may
To
be.
ensure that they had, a sampling from,
Yeah,
and since
We
we're
can look into
so much
that.
smaller than South Kingstown, that we would have fewer slots.
Right.
That
But
that
does
would be
mean
my,
6, like, per
my
school?
hunch on that.
we can look that up. That's a good
Sorry.
question.
Can I just go back to the budget?
Sure, I'm sorry, I jumped ahead. My fault.
You were done.
Yeah,
Um,
I did.
Since we had, you have passed the budget and it's gone to the council, we've had 2 things happen. We've had a child, non-English speaking child, move to the district, for whom you saw in staffing that we need to provide ELL instruction. And we've received word from the base that we will be having a new student next year. Kim is choosing to move to Jamestown, who in the IEP requires an outplacement.
What does outplacement mean?
Out of
That we
Out of
pay,
district school?
we
Okay.
pay tuition and transportation to a district, to a program other than our own.
What's the approximate cost of that outplacement? Do we have enough?
$70,000.
Sound right?
Plus the transportation, which sometimes seems like it's as much as the tuition.
Right.
So these are the kind of things that change.
Just for my own benefit, is this IEP from Rhode Island? Does it
But
have,
But it's under federal law, so we're guided by
But
that.
before they come here, I can understand if the district that they were in, they decided, okay, this district can't support the services the child needs,
Right.
the child needs to go to this outplacement, but until they come here and see what services we offer within our district, how can they decide ahead of time that an outplacement is required?
Because we're obligated to follow the IEP as it stands today. Then we look at the student, look at our ability to service that child and make changes after that, but we have to implement that IEP as they move in. So I
And
need to
how often
anticipate.
does it get reviewed?
It gets reviewed as often as we want. My more kind of unwritten procedure is get the kid here for 6 weeks, get to
And
know
then
them, and
evaluate
then have
it.
the team get together and determine what are the appropriate services that we have. It very well might be that we can handle this student, whereas
Right.
the school he's at in Louisiana couldn't.
But, right.
But I don't know that yet, I have not gotten my hands on that IEP. The naval liaison officer has been a godsend in making those communications happen, so we're hoping to get an IEP by next week.
living daylights out of
Glenn and I attended a summit
Mm-hmm.
at the naval base, and it was for the superintendents of the districts that are impacted by military families coming in. We all had the same issue that we don't know about, that they're coming, and we can't prepare the services or the extra staff that we need, et cetera. And so we've come up with a pre-registration process that they will, as soon as someone finds out that they're going to be coming here, they will provide them that information. They can't force them to.
Live in one town or another, yeah.
Right, but we're hoping that they can at least provide the information about the services that their children will need or what grade levels they're going to be in, so we don't end up, not only us, but, Newport, Middletown and Portsmouth, don't end up with, you've got to add a staff member, the week school starts and split classes that are already assigned to teachers in. So, they got to understand our issues, and they really worked with us to try to come up with ways that we could find out early. And as a result, this was the first child that we found out early about, and much better we know now than we know in August
Right.
about that. So.
And was there any discussion about, or has there been any word from legislators at the federal level on the impact aid questions?
In placements like this, for instance, at Bradley or wherever the placement might be, is tuition prorated such that if that child
Yes.
arrives, is placed for 6
But we
weeks?
take 'em back.
And we take them back? We're
Yep.
we're not stuck with it?
No, not at all.
Tuition
No,
or-
those places are great about that.
Any more questions on the budget?
So the impact of the new staff person, aren't they being paid for by a grant, or is it coming out of the budget someplace else? For
For
the
this-
second language?
For this year, we had some money put into the budget because we had some other children that we anticipated were going to need that service who didn't this year.
Right.
And it's now, almost April, and we're budgeting a 20-hour position from now until the end of the year. And so what we have in the budget will cover that. What we didn't do was to budget anything additional for the coming year, and whether that amount, if we find out that indeed this child needs full-time services, or we have any other children that need that, we could need a full-time position rather than, some of it's in the budget.
Got it.
I believe it's around 20,000 that we have in here, which certainly isn't enough to cover a teacher for the year, or even half a teacher for the year.
citizen?
Hey, hey,
Don't
hey.